Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. We are already about halfway-ish with the current anime season. I think we've got a pretty decent idea about what these shows are about.
Yeah.
But Gel,
only 6 more weeks until the return of Birdie Wing. Wait.
We're literally
No.
talking about 2 new shows this podcast.
Yeah, that is true, but I do want to throw out here, since this is the last season, and I'm going to put you all on the spot, unplanned and real reaction here. You guys have any thoughts on what your anime of the year might be now?
Whew.
Is it really going to be Birdie Wing?
It might be ranked, despite everything, Regina King still's a shot.
I mean, I think for me, it's like a toss-up between... I think Spy Family, as unspectacular as it is like the most consistently great show
Okay.
we've been watching this season.
We've got Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
so-
I would also make a significant case for Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Yeah.
Yes,
so
which we need to come back around and talk about that at some point.
My
yeah.
my shitpost answer is I will unironically put Birdie Wing unreasonably high on my top 5 and just break the weighting of the list.
Yeah.
But my real answer is depending on how Cyberpunk wraps up. I wish we were talking about it this week. You know, the Netflix format has really boned us on that one,
Yeah.
but it's done some unbelievably cool things with its cyberpunk premise.
Trigger
Yeah.
coming in from behind. The Dark Horse win.
Yeah.
Are they really the
famous-
Dark Horse?
No, that's the
Famous
joke.
Dark Horse Trigger.
That's
Nobody.
the joke.
I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
Bocchi
thought
the
it would
Rock
be.
Anime of the Year 2020.
I thought it'd be interesting to just throw that out there without any pre-thought on it, and just what is the first thing in your heart that comes to mind? And I'm with you, Ira. I do still think about Ranking of Kings, but I don't know if it's is that the best anime of the year, or is it just because I know in my heart it should be the best anime of the year?
Right.
But I think it's still in the. I am still putting it in my pool of consideration.
That chair is still standing there in your attic, all dusted and covered in cobwebs, reserved
Yes.
for Ranking of Kings Anime of the Year 2022.
Yes. So, anyway,
Legend
that's
of
a discussion for,
All yours.
2 weeks from now. But,
Oh god.
Merry Christmas!
yes, let's
We need to roll. We have so much.
let's get into currently airing anime stuff, and we'll start. Of course, we have to introduce ourselves. I'm Gel, and I'm joined by Iro.
I'm not dead yet.
We're joined by G.
Now, I think we all agree that daylight savings time is bullshit. It's a fake concept invented by farmers,
Yeah.
and
Thanks, Benjamin Franklin, asshole.
I want to make that clear. Now, however, I also do think there is some merit to maybe the government should just create a phantom hour at nighttime when everyone is asleep.
the dark hour.
Ah,
Just create an extra hour that doesn't exist otherwise. You know,
No, the
hidden
dark hour is a
fifth
frontier
hour.
that only we may explore.
so
Exactly.
at midnight, time stops, and we
It is
Go
our
into a giant
manifest
tower.
destiny.
and
Fuck the
Yeah.
tower. I just want to get
You just want to
10 hours of sleep in an 8-hour span.
from exhausted to normal.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to the
only.
school nurse, it'll give you the potion. It'll raise all your stats if you're exhausted, right? So
yeah, if it were only that simple. All right, we're also joined by Aqua.
I'm paying $8 a month just to get to be here.
fuck.
We can't get into that.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Good. Keep it that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're what a precious ignorant old man you are, Gel.
Okay. Maybe it's for the best
It's
this
for a new
time.
Twitter function called the Twitter Emerald. Google Elon Musk Emerald to find
Oh
out
yeah,
more.
I can't keep up with what's going on with all that at this point. I just know Twitter bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think he's trying to
knows?
win the Tank $1 Billion Company speed run challenge.
Yeah,
Because
well.
he's doing a really good job at it.
It's funny.
well, check us out on co-host then. We'll have to add that to the
God, we
housekeeping
can't talk
later.
about this. Like, as someone who's been on Coast longer than any of you, like, it's suddenly exploded and it's real weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love 2011 Tumblr, but anyway, we need to talk about anime and not social media exploding. Let's get into our shows, and as G mentioned, we actually still had some new things trickling through a month and a half later here.
In a certain amount of fairness, this next show, like, is going to be less episodes than a normal show.
Okay,
Right.
that's I really don't know what the count is.
And the second
on that,
show,
but
the second show is Stoku, so it basically
And it dropped all at once. Like
it doesn't follow the anime season structure at all.
that is
so-
true.
Well.
Toku plays its own rules.
by whatever means, we
Continue,
have some
continue.
new shows to talk about. So we'll start with our much anticipated
Mark?
Arknights anime, Arknights Prelude to Dawn.
Arknights is finally here, guys. The fall season can finally start.
It's really fucking funny to me that this show has enough money and push behind it that all the episodes so far have been in cinematic ultra wide,
Yes,
like
they-
letterboxed. It's so
They have
fucking
letterboxed
funny.
it, yes. But so Arknights is an anime adaptation of the hit tactical the gacha
Slot machine.
genre. Yes, the gacha genre, the genre of gacha games, which are anime girls in oversized tech wear and high top sneakers genre.
Tactical kimono mimi, like
Yes, exactly.
You could make a case it has the coolest art style of any gotcha
Sure.
game. But yeah,
I look. I'm biased. It is the only gacha game I'm still playing these days, but I would certainly agree with that sentiment. But yeah,
it's now been often imitated.
Yeah,
as-
there's
yeah,
a-
right.
So-
There are these ads for this like Nikkei game that looks exactly
Or have you seen
like
that one about like
Arknights.
how you play a prison warden and like
oh god,
the game is just like what if every girl was
hot prisoner.
evil and mean?
Yep. You have to raise their compliance meter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I briefly thought about downloading that one because I was like, ah, damn, these girls do look really mean and evil.
Are you sure that's a real game and not just a Fed front?
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
right.
if I may
Arknights.
attempt to explain Arknights as the person who
Yes.
hasn't played it,
Sure.
it's in seems to be some kind of post-apocalypse or a otherwise, crumbling society where people have
anime
animal
disease.
ears. People have animal ears, and there's some kind of disease running amok caused by their fossil fuel equivalent that society relies upon that infects people and
The Mako.
the Mako and the protagonist, the Doctor, has been pulled out of cryosleep by Rhodes Island because apparently
Yes.
the Doctor is the only person who has the wherewithal, who can solve this plague that is plaguing society, but they have amnesia, and the baddies who are out to kill anyone who has this disease are also out here trying to kill Doctor.
Okay,
This-
I mean that's you definitely nailed a lot of the large grander points.
That sounds like the
like,
plot
I-
of a
I-
subpar episode of Doctor Who.
As someone who's not played the game, right, like this is the context I've gotten from watching 2 episodes of the
Right.
anime.
No, totally. And so that is the weird thing that Arknights finds itself in is that unlike other gacha anime adaptations like say
one's about
Attack
the character.
Opus Destiny, no, good God, no.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
No, if anything, unlike other gacha series, Arknights is about the outfits.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so they've decided, unlike Attack Opus Destiny or say a Rage of Bahamut, which were sort of original stories based on the property, Arknights has taken the choice of deciding to just straight up adapt the first opening chapters of the game itself, which is a bold but questionable choice. Because Arknights, more than I don't know, Jel, maybe you can chime in on this because you have played more of these games than I have, but Arknights, I feel, especially suffers from early installment weirdness of the early chapters of Arknights are just frankly the worst parts of its story.
Yeah. If you are playing gacha games for story, which is pretty rare, that's often the case. But yeah, I mean, I think the closest comparison is Girls Frontline from like 6 months ago or something, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of a similar case here, except they have a lot more money.
Well, so that is the thing. If we were compared to Girls Frontline, Arknights compares very favorably.
Yeah,
like the Arknights anime has been a much cleaner, nicer production.
The studio doing this isn't it literally the studio founded by the developers of Arknights?
So the Arknights anime is being handled by Yostar's studio, which is Yostar is the publisher of Arknights, so it is their internal animation department.
So it's like, understood. God, right, Keiichi Sato works for these guys.
Well, I kind of wanted to look back on the Girls Frontline and what we said about that, because I think we said, like, and I will say, I think the Arknights story and setting is more interesting than Girls Frontline, because Girls Frontline is kind of like a ridiculous stretch to have gun girls, right? Whereas, Arknights, there's at least, like, what Ira described, like, you could make something out of that story, right?
Yes.
Like, it's
I mean, the thing I want to make clear is that, like, I have enjoyed much of Arknights' world building, and I like the implications of, like, some of the stuff they play with, because, like, in a lot of ways, Arknights is a post 9/11, post War for Oil type of story, right? I mean, not that that's new. I mean, Aqua said the Mako. Like, yes, since Final Fantasy VII, we have had stories about, like, the exploitation of natural resources and how that ties into, the grinding machine of capitalism. So I'm not implying Arknights is doing anything new with that, but by the standards of gacha games, it is a more interesting premise than a lot of the ones I have seen, which is maybe what fuels my continued interest in it as a franchise. I feel like so far, of the 2 episodes we've seen so far, they have done a, like, admirable, if somewhat heavy-handed way of like, just smashing you in the face with the story as quickly as possible, because, the inherent nature of how gacha games tend to work, or how their stories tend to be communicated, is through, like, written VN segments, right? Like, lots of text. And that's simply not as viable for anime.
Right, so, like, if it's a straight adaptation of a gacha game, like, it really feels like it, because it seemed very, in the first 2 episodes, like, here's the cutscene, and then here's, like, the short tutorial fight, and then now everyone is in a building somewhere, and let's explain another part of the plot, and then here's another short little fight, and then now we've moved somewhere else, and here's another, like, explanation, and then a character shows up, and we have the cutscene where we talk to them. Right. It's sort of how it feels.
It's akin to, like, these lazy mid-2010s game adaptations, like the Persona 4 anime or the World Ends With You anime, where it's just like, hey, this is the game, but, like, badly animated, except I guess it's very, very well animated in this case.
Yes, in this case, yeah.
Right.
So that is very much the weird thing about Arknights, is that in a lot of ways it is caught in this sort of awkward position where, like, it is kind of doing the very heavy-handed, like, okay, new viewer who's not familiar with the property, here's the rules of the game, here's the rules of the setting, right? But it is dressed in presentation that is, like, above the quality of what we would associate with an adaptation of this caliber, I suppose.
It's funny that this is happening in the same season as, like, Chainsaw Man.
I mean, the thing is, like, does this new viewer that they want to appeal to even exist? Because normally these kinds of projects exist as a kind of, like, fan service for existing fans. Like,
yeah, I think they are giving you, like, I feel like when it's more of a fan service focused thing, they just, like, leave out information and just assume you know what they're talking about. I do think they're actually explaining what's going on, and, like, you could watch this without playing the game. Because, quite frankly, I didn't really pay that close attention to the story when I played the game, and I'm like, this is what the game is actually about. But
the weird thing is, like, if I were to make something to promote a game for new players, I would just, like, make it look super cool so that people would play the game and not reference these specific like details that only the fans would recognize.
And to that end, I would also say, like, at least in the first episode, I was kind of surprised how like few of the game characters show up.
Right, yeah, I definitely noticed that as well, but I guess...
Like Amiya's there, of course, because she's, like, the main character, so to speak, but, like, you know, we got, like, Doberman and, like, was that it?
Ace,
all these fucking...
dude named Ace.
All these fucking year one characters nobody cares about anymore. It was kind of an interesting, like, flash from the past, but...
Is Zucchini there? My girl Zucchini.
Zucchini?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gotta be there. And Cactus and Turntable.
I was surprised,
like
I was surprised they weren't just, you know, carting more characters out if it was just like I guess I get it is to say like they're kind of taking it very seriously, right?
Right,
like,
I guess that's a thing, right? In a lot of ways I kind of respect the way they're approaching it, right? Because it from my perspective, I would say this anime doesn't necessarily feel that fan servicey, like for old fans. It really does feel like they are attempting to like craft something for new viewers,
right?
Because there aren't actually that many like this one's for the fans moments in the anime so far, and so I guess regardless of how I feel about it in the end, I can respect that they do seem to be taking this relatively seriously as an adaptation of the story. And again,
it's not,
like...
not just the game for the commercial for the game.
Right. And so, in the end of the day, if this, like, just ends up being, like, a well-produced, like, one of those, like...
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious
just like
how
Fate
far...
Grand Order, Absolute Demonic from Babylon, yeah,
Well, because that's a thing, right? Fate Grand Order took the completely different route of, we're not going to even adapt the story, we're just going to make
jump
movies
to chapter
based
6
on...
or whatever.
Right.
Like,
the Fate Grand
moments
Order
the fans
anime
like
is,
the
like,
most.
incomprehensible unless you're deep into it. Like,
Yes.
So it does, to me, feel like Arknights is attempting to, like, curry favor with a new audience and try to, like, introduce them to these concepts in a way that, again, is a little heavy-handed, but I would say broadly effective at, like, just rapidly summarizing, you know, the Cliff Notes version of the story.
Yeah. I mean, we did say that again with going back to Girls Frontline, like, if it looked nice, we might actually watch more of it.
Right.
And,
like...
Yeah, it didn't in that case, but this actually does look good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think of, you know, the other big example being the Grand Blue Fantasy anime, which actually a lot of people who don't play the game watched because it's very pretty, you know?
Right.
So...
Or at least the first season was.
And that also...
At least the first season,
That also
yes.
just adapts the beginning of the story, right?
Yeah, that was a pretty straightforward adaptation of the story, which that is a very basic, like, fantasy collective crystals.
I get the feeling
story.
Grand Blue, like Genshin Impact, is something that you could still tell as like a traditional fantasy story.
Yeah.
Like,
and a lot of people who did not play the game, because theoretically you can't play the game outside of you know, Asian countries. You know, that people really liked that anime. It was very popular. Mostly, I think, because it looked very nice, and I think that's the case with this one as well. But I mean, gee, are you gonna watch the whole thing? You...
I think so. Here's the thing: it's only 8 episodes, so
right.
It's almost more akin to like an OVA. You know, I mean, it's not even a full
somewhere
core,
in between
so.
So
I think just for my, you know, just to sate my curiosity as a fan of Arknights, I will probably watch it just to see how they decide to adapt, you know, certain moments and scenes. But honestly, I feel like, you know, again, as much as I was shit-talking the Fate Grand Order approach to their anime adaptations, I think I'm watching this mainly in the hopes that after this, they then announce an OVA based off of, like, the much cooler events later down.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it, but with this franchise I'm not familiar with does it. But if this franchise I am familiar with does it, ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
What Fate did
understandable.
is they literally held a, like, public fan poll of which... They were like, we're gonna do... One of these is going to be movies. One of those is going to be TV. Which one do you want to be which? They literally held a poll, and that's what ended up happening. So
Right.
Well, I hope in that case, if Arknights does a poll like that, then I hope the Rainbow Six collaboration event wins the fan vote, because that would be extremely funny to watch in anime form.
yeah.
Wasn't there like a Hot Lady Night arc though? G.
Yes. So okay. I mean, look, Jel, do you actually want me to get into?
You're
this?
not immune to Hot Lady Night.
I mean, now's the time. Now's the time to shoot your shot. So,
all right, fine. Yes, the arc I actually want animated is in the country in which night blood sports is a televised
Jousting.
national sport.
Jousting.
Yeah, basically, where like knights are literally sponsored, and so you got like this cool mix of like knights wearing armor made out of like carbon fiber with like super slick graphic designed like corporate logos on them.
Yeah.
And it's like it's
Tiger
just
and
okay. It's I think the message of the event is capitalism bad, but also aren't these capitalist knights really cool looking?
I mean, I'm just gonna say a gacha game that says capitalism is bad. Big, like, guy in a hot dog suit saying, we're all looking for the guy who did this fight.
The point of the story is that the corporate night blood sports are bad, but also they're cool.
Right. Yeah.
And hey, that hot lady knight does show up in the second episode of the anime, so...
Did Hoshiguma show up yet? In episode
So
2?
she has shown up in the OP, so I think...
She
think
will
they're
show
going to-
up, but...
So
yeah.
she will show up in the anime, yes.
Right.
Because Chen and Hoshiguma show up in the OP, so...
Yeah,
so,
they're important enough they will show up at some point, but yeah.
Yeah,
Shall
you'll
we
get
start our own
your big, your
podcast,
6...
Hero?
Yeah. Give me my 6 foot tall Oni woman with green hair.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move along and talk about another new thing that came out. You can go read Aqua's post on
Time for a show for adults!
Kamen Rider Black Sun. It's not like other Kamen Riders.
It's
I mean,
really,
speaking of shows that supposedly say
funny.
capitalism bad...
yeah.
Yeah!
So Aqua, Iroh and Aqua, go ahead and tell us about this one.
I just want to say that I thought it was fucking hilarious in the first episode when we follow our grizzled protagonist back to his, the abandoned bus where he's squatting, and then he's just shooting up raw-ass ketamine with a syringe. I fucking lost it. It's so funny.
Yeah, this is not your grandpa's Kamen Rider.
It's just the straight of the bottle that says ketamine on it. It's so funny.
So
Okay, on the spectrum of regular ass Kamen Rider to Garo, then like
Goro.
I mean,
okay,
this is in a league of its own, I would even say.
all right.
So, guys, please.
Right, so the thing
I
is...
see the floor.
Kamen Rider Black Sun is actually a remake of Kamen Rider Black, which is considered to be it's like the Kamen Rider the people who are writing Kamen Rider nowadays grew up with. It was the one that was like, it's like the one
The
from
dark
87.
one.
And
The one
it
that
is the
Urabuchi says is
Right.
his favorite.
Yeah, and it's Kamen Rider Black was basically the final show of the Showa era. It is the final. Well, there was also a sequel, but the Black Saga, as it were, was the final Kamen Rider series of the Showa era, and the final one that the original Kamen Rider creator Shotaro Ishinomori worked on, and it has a reputation for being darker than other Showa shows. Like, traditional Showa Kamen Rider is like, we fight Starfish Hitler
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
we
say,
protect
yeah.
the smiles of children. Whereas Kamen Rider Black attempted to tell a story of a cult controlling Japanese politics from the shadow, and they're manipulating two brothers into becoming sworn enemies, and that has given it a place in a lot of people's memory. So now they are remaking Kamen Rider Black as part of the 50th anniversary for Kamen Rider, the same anniversary project that is giving us Hideaki Anno's Shin Kamen Rider, which will release next year, and the one that gave us the Futo PI anime, as well as Kamen Rider Revised, the bad anniversary season. So, Kamen Rider Black Sun it's a collaboration with Amazon Prime Video, so it is targeted at a completely different target audience. This is for people who grew up with Kamen Rider as kids and now want to see Kamen Rider but for adults.
Right. They did this several years ago with Kamen Rider Amazons, which was a sort of pseudo reboot of Kamen Rider Amazon.
Which they only picked because it was on Amazon Prime, and there happened to be a Kamen Rider called Kamen Rider Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the second Amazon Prime original Kamen Rider show for adults. But the way they have gone about this is very interesting, because last season we talked about Futo PI and how one idea of Kamen Rider for adults looks like. And this is kind of like the other extreme in that the thing is they make it dark and mature, so there's like a lot of like gory violence and body horror as people transform into horrible monsters and they like tear each other apart and Kamen Rider pulls this guy's heart out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And there's like, the ketamine and the stuff like that.
So but funny.
They're also they're also trying to tackle some like pretty serious themes, and you see that the writers actually did their research, because in this reboot, the idea is that the whole this cult is controlling Japan from the shadows thing is very much integrated with a political satire, as in the cult is literally controlling the party, which is like a very thinly veiled stand-in for Shinzo Abe and the LDP.
Oh yeah,
right?
No subtlety whatsoever.
Right, up to the point where like the Shinzo Abe analog is also the grandson of a Kishi analog, similarly to how Shinzo Abe was also the grandson of a prime minister. So stuff like that, and the story basically like flashes between the present, when the party controls Japan as like the main party, and like flashbacks to the 1970s when the main characters were like active in like this very like these images of like hippie activism and things like Vietnam War protests and stuff like that.
Right.
And
we have the like 70s version of like Showa era civil rights movement for the like monster people, and then we cut to like the modern version of that where how that's going on now with how the kaijin want want equal rights and stuff.
And it's very like they did their research. If you look at the present time scenes, there are like protests that are like, every time you see people protesting in Japan with their big slogans, and there's a guy with a megaphone just screaming like, "Gaijin, get out of our country, keep Japan pure," and kind of like that. And then in the 1970s, it's more like, we're working together with the unions, and here is this like African American immigrant and this little person, and we're like, and we're including everyone, everyone who's part of a marginalized community can join our cause, and we're working together with the unions and stuff like that. So it's all pretty well done.
So,
before Iro, because I think I know what you want to say. But so they try to make this an explicitly political show, right? They do some, very on-the-nose things to make it very clear that racism is bad, and capitalism is bad, and government corruption is bad. Like but they're also adding some like your traditional tropes from like mature stories nowadays. So it's a big friend baby child show. You have your grizzled Kamen Rider who's like disillusioned because he used to protest in the 70s, and then there's like the young bright-eyed Greta Thunberg like activist teen, and they have to team up because she's being attacked by all sorts of nefarious forces. And the thing is, like, they do all of this mature stuff that they do relatively well, but this is still Toku. It's
Yeah.
still
Right.
super
It's like-
camp.
it's like
Like,
there's literally like an on-screen lynching of like they tie this dude to a tree and like douse him in gasoline, light him on fire. But it's this bird-faced man, right?
yeah.
It's just a dude with a bird mask on.
And it's
so,
like a
like-
shitty bird mask, like
Right.
like
So,
like
like,
that
on one
that
hand,
one
this
horse
is-
mask that was a
yeah.
meme, like that kind of stuff.
On one
Like,
hand, like this is all incredibly serious, like very pointed allegory for like civil rights and racism stuff. On the other hand, it's a ridiculous.
right? I've seen people argue that this show is actually less subtle than the original Kamen Rider Black,
Right.
and being less subtle than Showa Kamen Rider is quite the achievement.
feat.
But in the other way, from the other point of view, when you look at what's going on in the world today, things are just comically bad and
Right.
evil, and maybe we can use the bluntness of Taku as a weapon to
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
protest
as we
that
all
stuff.
know, subtext is for cowards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I think that's going to be a recurring theme.
Get out of
in
here,
this
Garth
podcast.
Marenghi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I do feel like in 2022, if you want
Yes.
if you want to deliver a political message
You
or
have to
something,
put
like you
someone in
can't
the-
be subtle.
Right.
You have to
Yes.
be 100% clear. This is what we're saying. No room for
Right.
interpretation.
I just I think the stuff that's a little more specific to like Japanese government. Of course, I would say it's because I don't actually have personal experience with the Japanese government. So of course, I'd say that these parts are better. But it's like I find that stuff very like funny and like well done and how pointed it is. Like there's a great scene in episode 3, which is as far as we've seen so far, where like the government's giving some speech at a press conference or something, and like I think the like Minister of Defense is saying shit about the JSDF and how they're like trying to increase the military power of JSDF, and all the reporters are like, "We don't care what you have to say. Get the Prime Minister up here to tell us, right?" And he's like, "All right." He steps back. Prime Minister comes up and says the exact same canned line that the Minister of Defense was saying, and sits down. And I was like, "This is amazing, right? Like that's
fantastic.
perfect." But like,
That's
I think
pretty
the sort of racism, civil rights stuff doesn't really play because it's sort of like how in, for example, Promare, the oppressed underclass, oppressed underrace, was like literally had incredibly dangerous superpowers.
I mean, it's the X-Men problem, right?
Right.
Like,
Okay, well then how about Hiro? I'm surprised you didn't cite the more nuanced and complex anime about racism.
Oh, no.
86.
Oh my fucking god. Anyway, but yeah, it's like they're co-opting all of the images of protests and racial discrimination and all that, but like the fact of the matter is also that the kaijin are like monsters, people who can tear humans apart, right? Like,
and they are also actually secretly controlling the government.
right.
Because that's the whole thing. The Kaijin are a suppressed underclass, but the government is actually in the pocket of the Kaijin, who have established like this whole system where
It's slightly more complex than
yeah,
that.
yeah. You know, the thing is like they basically sacrifice their own as an underclass
Yeah,
in order to keep the humans
Right.
under
Like,
their
so
foot.
In the
There's a lot of
yeah.
there's a lot of potential there to undermine their messages. What I mean,
Yeah, that's
you
kind of
know?
how I feel about it. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like it seems a little confused. I'm not quite sure where they're going. We haven't watched the whole show yet,
Yeah.
but it's like I think it's some parts of it are I think doing a good job, and other parts of it. The fact of the matter is kind of that Japan. I think, well, there are, of course, racial minorities who experience a lot of discrimination in Japan. Japan is also one of the most ethnically homogenous states on Earth currently, right?
And as a result, it is comically racist.
Yeah. But also it means that, like, I don't know, I think the people working on this show are not necessarily people who may have experienced that firsthand.
Right.
They are clearly well-intentioned, but they are also
Yeah.
appropriating themes that may not exactly be a part of their frame of reference.
I mean, again,
Right.
like I was fucking goofing with Eero there, but like in all seriousness, like 86 is a great example of this similar problem of like, okay, the writer seems to understand the talking points of like racism and discrimination, but having likely never lived through it themselves, writes the most like goofy Saturday morning cartoon version of racism.
Right.
It's the thing of like, racism is bad, but you don't know either why people are racist or B, why racism is bad. Like,
Yeah.
It sort of feels that way. But
I mean,
I'm enjoying it so far.
I mean, yeah.
but then on
I
the
guess
other hand,
there's
the show still looks super good. Like
filmed well.
like the guy who plays Kamen Rider Black is actually the lead actor in that movie that won the best foreign picture Oscar last year, Drive My Car.
So they got they got actual actors.
Yes, yeah. They
not,
got actual actors for everyone, so
Yeah.
the performances are significantly better. I mean, it also helps that the cast of this show is predominantly like middle-aged dudes and not young
Like
hip
teens, teen idols.
Yeah.
All right, I got one last question before we should probably move on from Kamen Rider, and it is, what are the odds that this Kamen Rider just straight up shoots not Shinzo Abe?
Oh, he's gonna die. He's gonna die horribly.
I don't know.
Yes, but will a Kamen Rider be the one to pull the trigger?
A Kamen Rider, I think it's completely possible.
Yeah, because
Okay.
like there is
we have the like good quote
Yeah.
unquote good Kamen Rider Black Sun, and then there's the like edgier
the guy who goes too far.
right
you know?
Shadow Moon,
Like,
and I think it's completely possible that Shadow Moon will just fucking kill fake Shinzo
I'm just
Abe.
saying.
I
could
mean,
you
they already
imagine
they already
the
kidnapped
audacity,
him.
Right.
yes, of having a Kamen Rider shoot a character
With the
who's a
soda popper,
clear
yeah.
analog for a real world politician.
I mean, they already kidnapped fake
Right
Shinzo
in
Abe.
the
Like,
flashback segments, like they kidnap him because he's the grandson of the prime minister, right? So anyway, it's
I feel like we've talked about Shinzo Abe too much in the past couple of weeks here on the podcast, but
the
yeah.
spirit looms.
I
You
mean,
know-
speaking of the ghost of Shinzo Abe, the next show on this list.
Yeah, so we'll you know, that sounds interesting.
we'll keep
That
an
does
eye on
sound
Black
very
Sun,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even for me, who does not care about Kamen Rider normally, but yeah.
Zig has already said he's gonna try and write a final thoughts post when we
Yeah.
finish, so look
I'm
forward to
curious
that.
to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
And again, read Aqua's post for the in-depth review, but yeah. Let's move on
So far, yeah.
Let's move on to our regularly scheduled anime. As G was already
Yeah.
alluding to, you know, the perfect family here. Let's talk about Spy Family. For the record, I did catch up on this since last
Or
time.
like spy filler.
Yeah. I did catch up on this
Okay.
last time. If you recall, I had not actually watched it yet last
Yes.
episode,
Yeah.
but I caught up. It's good. There's,
Yep.
I think while it's bad for the podcast, I do think the short segment format works very well for Spy Family.
Yeah, I think like it's clear that now that the show feels like it has breathing room again after the dog arc, they're just hitting all the like best hits of the one-off like chapters. That,
What's this?
What?
Oh, I dropped this picture of my awesome dog.
Oh no.
oh god, or just like yes, we are now seeding the.
Oh, your
the
mom is so hot.
well. For Becky's undying thirst for a man, I think literally triple or quadruple her age
Yes.
at bare minimum.
Maybe 5 times.
I mean,
Actually,
times.
probably quintuple.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I saying? They're
Like Lloyd
six.
is in his late 90s and she's like 5 or 6. He's in his late 20s. Sorry.
I was gonna say, did you just say late 90s?
Yeah, no. I wanted to say late 20s and then 29, but that did turn
The
into
master
late
of
90s.
disguise.
Yeah.
Master, yeah.
But,
no, it's very good.
Yeah.
A lot of there were a lot of great like individual moments that we could probably all shoot off, but yeah, I like the only thing I like about Yours Brother is his constant vomiting while continuing to eat somehow.
Yes.
God, we have to bring this up in about the latest episode in the segment where
Yes.
where Yuri is tutoring Anya, and I think the manga
This is
translation.
important.
Okay, so there's there's the bit where he's telling her, knowledge is power, Anya, and she's like, no leash is power, and imagines the buff dog, and the official manga version of this translation, while perhaps more not as accurate or just like more ridiculous, is way funnier.
It's much more memorable.
Where Yuri is like, knowledge is very important, it's the whole enchilada. And Anya is like, knowledge is a swole chihuahua?
I mean, this is one of those things that is incredibly interesting for me as a nominal scholar of comic book translation. You can read my master's thesis online. I've been cited multiple times. Because, you are stuck trying to translate something that has a visual accompaniment, so you have a very limited options.
Right.
Yes.
And I honestly wouldn't even have blamed the translator if they'd just gone asterisk. This is a pun in Japanese.
Yeah.
Right. No, I mean the thing Iro and I arrived at is that no leash is power is a very competent localization of the
perfectly acceptable,
perfectly acceptable, but where we felt is that knowledge is a swole chihuahua is like a Yakuza tier localization.
Yes.
Right.
Whereas no leash is power is like a Square Enix or Capcom tier localization.
I was just about to say no leash is power is a master stroke. Knowledge is a swole chihuahua is a meme.
Yes.
Exactly. One of these gets spread on social media, one doesn't.
And sometimes the meme answer is actually the better choice depending on the tone of your story. And with a character like Anya, it's totally acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing I would add is I am down for more handler content.
You are not immune to Hot Lady Spy.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So we're all giving me shit about going to the sign that says pussy of a girl who is evil instead of water. But are you telling me handler is not she's a spook. She's a literal government spook.
But
that pussy is as evil as it gets.
Police.
Look,
World
I
peace.
never claimed that sign did not also apply to BG. It was just much more convenient to put the blame on you. But I'm just saying, Evan.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to really say about Spy Family, right?
Yeah.
It continues to be a great adaptation.
Good, it's fun, it does what it does.
Yeah, I think it's in pocket now that we've had some time to settle in back into season 2. And
it's sitting
great.
pretty.
Yeah.
It is one of those shows that is just effortlessly good.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess brief shout out to I don't know if he did this in the manga, but when they introduced Daybreak, the dipshit rival spy.
Oh yes.
And he's just rolling. He's just
he's just rolling on the floor in the open.
Yeah.
Rolling like the fucking goats in Elden Ring,
Yeah.
Stealth.
Great.
That was very good. That was
I have expected to start seeing him do the video game crouch walk.
Right. Episode 4, yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Circle strafing around his targets.
Yeah. Very good. All right. I have not caught up with Mob Psycho 100 yet. That'll be next on the to-do list.
It's good.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, it's another show that is sort of just enjoying its victory lap. So the main arc as of late that we sort of talked about last week is it's kind of coming to a head here where Dimple is he has started his own cult around the broccoli.
Yes.
And
He's
as of these
brainwashing
last two
everyone.
episodes, sorry, what?
He's brainwashing everybody with that girl. With
Yes,
the broccoli.
Exactly.
I'll take
do
sentences that make perfect sense in context.
But yeah, no, I think they do some really effective, maybe not horror, proper scary, but they do a lot of good dread and build up as Reagan and Mob kind of realize that they are basically the last normal people in the town, and then Mob has a realization that oh no, Reagan is compromised too. I am now.
This is one of I This is one of like my personal favorite little things that whenever it happens and stuff, right? Like, even Bleach did this one time, and I liked it. So, like, everyone's getting brainwashed except me, and then they're all turning against me, and like, even my most trusted friends are under control, right?
Right, and I mean, it also creates a good excuse for if, for example, one decides he wants to have Mob rematch against anybody he's fought before.
Yes.
But,
Right.
The important part, actually, the more important part of the plot is, like, after the events of, if season 1 was about Mob coming to understand that his powers don't define him, and season 2 is about how sometimes you must stand up for what you believe in, season 3 is kind of the, like, final consolidation of those concepts with, Mob of his own volition deciding to confront Dimple, and basically lay down the law that I do not appreciate what you are doing. I do not approve of what you've done to my friends, and if you don't stop, I will use force to stop you.
Yeah.
And sort of the culminating conflict that springboards from that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to catch up, but like that is one of the strongest points of this series is like how they've had Mob grow as a person, and you can see that progress, right? So now it's interesting because like it does feel like even in the season 2, it's like he needed somebody to kind of push him, right? Whereas now he's applying the lessons he's learned through the past 2 seasons. Now that he's left on his own, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's been really effective. We have not seen, the episode yet. Like, they keep building up, like, Mob just hit 100% at the end of the latest episode.
Yes.
So, the moment is coming. Yes.
They've been working on this one for a while, right? The fight.
Yes, I won't. Yeah. I won't. It's not a spoiler, but I won't spoil it. But let's just say the thing that
It sets him off.
The thing that sets him off to 100 is an excellent punchline that they set up 2 episodes in advance.
Okay.
In the way that reminds you that even when Mob Psycho is getting dramatic, that one still has an unbelievable like knack for comedy.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll have to figure that out or catch up on it. But yeah. Yeah, and whenever Mob hits 100%, it's not a good time, right? So
yeah, it's the Superman stops holding back moment, right? It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, we only get it like usually we get it like twice per season usually, right? Like
yeah,
so
right.
That sounds good. Also, Dimple always needs to be punched in the face every now and then. He's that kind of character. Okay. Yep. Well, I'll catch up on that next time so that I will have more to say about it. But it sounds like it's continuing to be more Mob Psycho.
It's Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. I also don't know how much to say about Pop Team Epic.
It's time to come back to the Kuso corner.
Oh my goodness! I think the latest couple episodes have been pretty good. I think.
Yeah. I think the latest episode they did the visual novel, right?
Yes, the Tokimeki Memorial.
Just blatant parody.
Yeah, unapologetic.
Yes, and like, this episode had maybe the best B-side of any episode so far. Like,
I think so, yeah.
Like, because I think normally you sort of zone out during the B-side because, like, you've seen that shit. But, like, they do the whole ass Tokimemo joke with Tokimemo girl's side instead with the super bishy, overly detailed art style, right?
Yes.
What a great
like the fact that they fully commit to redoing the entire VN segment, but again, not even just with boys instead of girls, but also in the proper otome game like art style.
Yeah.
Even culminating in the live action segment at the end changing.
Yeah. Yes.
Is like it's a thing that we always love about Pop Team Epic is that like Pop Team Epic understands that actually sometimes trying too hard for a joke actually works out. Like,
Yeah.
like sometimes it's actually a good thing to put too much work into a dumb joke because it rounds back into being even funnier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just
Also, like, let's not forget about because I feel like they're Pop Team Epic is quickly following this format of every episode gets like one like weirdly like highly produced segment, and I do want to shout out the one in episode 5 that is the like fake Thundercats like intro.
God, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Shining Shoulder or whatever.
Yes, the like pitch perfect
Yeah.
fake like Western cartoon that outsourced its intro to Japan, and so it looks sick, and then the show doesn't look like that at all. Like that exact vibe. Yeah, that was good. You're right.
Yeah, or
I mean, the anime is just like a masterclass in capturing moods, very specific moods, right?
Yes.
Like,
Highly specific references.
Or like, God, I mean, this shows how fucking like brain poisoned we are, right? That when we saw the first take parody,
Yeah, in episode 6. Yeah.
yes, like to listeners, if you're not familiar, the first take is a Japanese YouTube channel.
Making very specific references.
Yes, that basically is just a YouTube channel devoted to like various Japanese musicians kind of performing the quote-unquote the first take of like songs they're famous for, right? Like
They come in,
basically
they only can do one take, right?
or yes, basically playing in a single take, right? And it has a very specific production style of like these very like kind of stark white rooms that the musicians perform in. They have a very specific graphic font treatment.
Yeah.
Yep.
And God, it's just Pop Team Epic's commitment to the bit every single time. I can't get over it, man.
That was pretty great. And they basically had it like for the ED for episode the latest episode, right? So that rather than it's still the same song, but like the animation is them in that same room for that YouTube channel. It's very good. It's
and then fucking cryptid searching for kappas becomes just kappa sushi commercial. Like
God, right?
Yeah.
Kappa sushi is like the most, I believe, like one of the noted like conveyor belt sushi chains in Japan.
Right.
But yes,
I didn't look up any of the notable voice actor pairs. I don't know if you guys were on top of any of those for the.
Yeah, so I guess for the B-side episode 6, I guess there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal joke somewhere in there, and the two guys in that part are from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, like the main guy and his main buddy / card or whatever. And I haven't had quite the chance yet to ask the person I know who's a super
Yu-Gi-Oh!
into
expert.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Your Yu-Gi-Oh! Guy.
Yeah, who has made me watch some episodes of Zexal before, but yeah, I'll have to ask him.
Sure. I mean,
Your
the point
Yu-Gi-Oh!
is
guy
that
just sounds like the guy who's selling you like illegal blue eyes white dragons in a.
I think the point is that like Pop Team Epic continues to do the thing of like going for these like fun, weird, deep cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good at that.
Yep, I think so. Weird PS1 Square Enix games that I've never read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. Well, we're going to try to keep things moving here as we're trying to power through some technical issues that I'm sure the listeners will not notice at all. But let's move on and talk about Akiba Maid War. G, I might have you go first. I have some mixed feelings, but
Oh yeah? Okay.
yeah, why don't you? What were your thoughts on the past 2 episodes?
I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm continuing to like this show and more with every passing episode because, at least to me, it feels like now that we have gotten past the Ranko solves everything by shooting people phase of Akiba Maid War, I've really come to appreciate just the energy that this show is bringing. You know, like I think the latest episode I definitely really enjoyed. I think it not that I would call it like committed character storytelling or anything, but I do think that they have a solid bit in the latest episode, where just by having pairing up Nagomi and Ranko again, because of her 36th birthday subplot, it kind of like gives you just enough about these characters in between all of the like dipshittery comedy antics to anchor you to something, I guess. And their commitment to playing it all completely fucking straight is probably the strongest.
TA Works willing to just completely lampoon their usual like working girls stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think that continues to be the strongest aspect of the show for me.
Iro, you actually started watching it since we last
I'm caught
talked,
up.
right? So you're caught up.
I did
so
watch
what
the
are your
episode with
thoughts?
the sheep. It's fun. Like I don't know if it's topped the musical number in the first episode yet. Really, like the boxing was good, but that bit in the first episode is still like I don't think they've topped that for just sheer audacity.
Yeah,
right?
They haven't even tried, really, right? Like it's
sort of, yeah. But like it's sort of settled into its thing, and it's not really playing. It's not quite playing the same bit over and over. There's enough variance that I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm having a good time. You're doing okay.
I'm happy to hear that, because we were definitely, like, when we had our first impression of the show, we were all like, yeah, the show has had its one joke. Like,
right.
I mean, I think the issue is that, like, again, it's one of those things where it's maybe it's hard to, like, to know until you're looking back in hindsight.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that really, like, hurt Akiba Maid War, at least early on, was ending both of its first episodes on the same joke. Of Ranko just shoots somebody. And like, if they put that episode even just, like, the third instead of the second, just to space out the ways in which these comedic situations resolve themselves.
Yeah, if episode 3 was episode 2, and honestly, plot-wise, you could have swapped them, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I think the trajectory for the show would have felt a little bit different in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, it's fun. I'm still watching it. I'm enjoying it. I feel like, for me, it's kind of just been up and down. Like, I don't know if I really liked episode 4, the training episode, or whatever that was, when the
right.
the maid comes in to like try to whip them into shape. And I mostly like the latest episode. I do feel like their attempt to kind of add some of that, like, power of friendship type of. I mean, you guys say you guys are kind of framing it as like they're poking fun at it, but I don't know. Like, it still feels a little
right. There's
like
a little bit of
they're
having
going down,
cake and eating it.
Yeah, that route, and I don't feel like it quite lines up with the level of black humor that they're going for.
Sure. I think the reason why it works for me is that, like, even if things resolve somewhat, like, cleanly oftentimes, like, the characters themselves are just messy and shitty enough.
Right.
And I think the delivery... And I think, honestly, for me, a lot of it is that I think Akiba Maid War's delivery is really solid. Like, even episode 4, which I'll admit I was also not as hot on, has, like, the two amazing visual gags of, like, the manager shoving the teacup down her pants in the middle of the meeting. Like, and that bit where Shipon, the Gyaru maid, is trying to escape the building.
Yes.
And looks out the window and sees manager rummaging through the trash.
Yes.
And instantly closes the window.
I think the best like their best black humor is when they're like highlighting how desperate they are. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Particularly with the manager in the lead, of like how she will do literally anything.
Right.
She will like degrade herself in any way to survive.
How, like, even in episode 5, right, where it's like, it all wraps up all nicely in the end. They save Ranko and Nagomi, like, and then like the Russian maid informs manager, oh, by the way, we got that money from killing a rival maid cafe.
Or a maid cafe under the same, basically family, right?
And like, there's just that wonderful shot of like all the girls in the foreground cheering on Ranko, and if you look in the back, manager just has her head in her hands.
Right. They just signed their own death warrant.
Yes,
right?
I think the delivery of, so even if the jokes are maybe not necessarily always like the most like snappy or original. I think the delivery is strong enough to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lot to say about the delivery of jokes in anime.
Yes,
sure will.
Right. Yeah, no, there are very strong highlights, I think, that carry the show. I just feel like it's up and down for me, where like I'll go through stretches I'm like, this is not working. But overall, I'm still having fun with it.
Yeah.
And I think, the other thing is like it's interesting. I'm normally never the guy that's like, oh, I want my things to be like edgy and dark and whatever. But I do feel like I don't know, were they kind of pulling their punches a little bit in the past episode? Where like, I mean, I feel like in the previous episodes they were just like straight up murdering people, and they do some straight up murder in this one. But like, I don't know, when they throw them in the vat of when they throw them in the vat of blood and it turns out to be like tomato juice, like that kind of thing. I don't know, but
I mean,
maybe
they still seem to commit a lot of murder, but I guess I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm having.
It's fun.
Time. It's all right. It's fun. We're having a good time. It doesn't have to be a front runner. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Speaking of front runners.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
Like, let's be real. We can't all be Bocchi the Rock.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, I did catch up on this after hearing some of the word of mouth, and wow, it's really good.
This is the season for little freaks.
I am legitimately concerned about Bocchi. Because like every episode she just gets a panic attack in increasingly more over the top and hilarious ways.
What an incredible bit in the latest episode where the manager says, "I see you, kid, don't worry," and she just freaks the fuck out because
I thought you were going to talk about
or the live action bit.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the 3D hand.
Also amazing.
It's like the 5-ticket quota, and she starts counting down.
That's also amazing.
And it's got this like low poly 3D hand in this like
it's
freaking
just like
shit
it's like
post
live action like
CG
stand in and
nightmare.
low frame rate. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, the part where she has to throw up and it cuts to live action footage of dams of Japan.
Yes, it's
like
just great. Yeah, there's some amazing visual gags.
Yeah, and so the thing I've really come to appreciate, I mean, I know, Aqua, you've written about this a fair amount, is like...
Yeah.
Like, so my understanding is that, yes, like a lot of the, like, bones of Bocchi the Rock existed in the manga, but...
These jokes are basically all there, but, like...
Right. Yeah, just like the way the anime has found like new novel ways for Bocchi to or to visually portray Bocchi's like mental breakdown every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, we need to, because it was last week's episode. I need to shout out the way
where she goes cyber psycho.
Yeah, the way Bocchi goes cyber psycho and like mentally disassociates. In the prior episode where she's told she has to create a social media account.
So the whole thing is like there are like a fun bit of like little stings at the traditional manga time Kirara style, like cute girls doing cute things for Koma manga in the anime. Like in the previous episode where they tried to do the jump that is in every single opening of one of these shows.
Yeah. Yes.
And it goes horribly wrong because Bocchi is Bocchi, and then in this episode, they like hint at a beach episode. It's like, we should go to the beach and work there, and Bocchi just starts freaking the fuck out, so it doesn't happen.
Rather going dead to the Yakuza than go to the fucking beach.
Yeah,
but I will say,
Bocchi would literally rather sell her organs than have a job at the beach.
Yeah.
The thing I do like is, even with like this, especially with this latest episode, right, is that we keep talking about how fun it is to watch Bocchi watch her soul literally exit her body in different ways every week.
Wreck, yeah.
But then they play the song, right?
Yeah, and it's cool.
We are reminded that Bocchi kind of has that moment where she kind of re-galvanizes her conviction to do this, right? To make this whole thing happen, right? And it is, I think it's a great like way of showing that like growth is not like, it's not like a metric, right? It's not a stat that goes up. It's a continuous journey.
And it's interesting and fun, right? Because the kind of problem that might occur in the future is that this show is heavily reliant on Bocchi being a total freak for its humor, so she
Right.
can't really develop as a character, because otherwise you might lose your one joke. But they seem to be doing a pretty good job balancing it, and the other characters also get their time to shine. Like, there's the whole thing with Nijika and her sister. Like,
Right.
Kita occasionally like pings in with her, "Oh, senpai, I love you so much," which is somehow not annoying, despite being a
Well,
cliche done a gazillion times already.
The thing that works about Kita is that because she is, in fact, the one normal one in the
Yes.
group, her
Right.
normalness then becomes her gimmick. Like,
Yes.
I'm sure you guys noticed, but like, they just keep doing the running bit of like every time they have a new establishing shot, Kita is taking a selfie.
Yes.
Right.
She is like an obnoxious influencer.
And then, I mean, like, you know, next to Bocchi, right, I feel like Rio is probably the other standout character, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
the... What was that joke that Bocchi did? Like, Rio's not like me. She's an intentional introvert.
Yes.
She
Yes.
chose the introvert life.
She is a weirdo on purpose.
Yes.
She also has a good ongoing joke about eating weeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's
She's
just
got the half tuck going.
yeah. Just to comment on kind of what we were saying earlier, I do appreciate, you know, visually it's taking full advantage of the medium, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
this is
You
not
got your
just
live
copying,
action, you got your art style shifts, you got your references. Like,
it's not just copying the manga. It's like they're really taking advantage of the fact that this is an anime.
Yeah, like, in fact, I want to, you know, I will eat crow on this one. I want to recant a statement I made in a prior podcast about how I kind of hated the way Bocchi the Rock looks. Like, I still think the character designs themselves are, you know,
Right.
they're fairly generic. They are what they are. But
that is
I
the
think
thing. Like, it has to be these characters. You can't just
Yes.
make them look differently, right?
Right, but I think the animation is like just doing so much heavy lifting here that
Yeah.
like I don't think I could in good conscience say Bocchi the Rock is a bad looking show at this point. Like,
I mean, just like that scene at the end where Nijika buys her a drink. And just
Yeah.
the character animation, the way
that-
she
all right,
That looked
moves
real
and
rotoscope
waves.
to me.
Yeah,
But-
it looked, but it
Hold
was
on.
That's
No,
not a
good.
bad thing. That's
Like,
not a bad
Is that
thing.
is that the first case of good rotoscoping in the history of anime? Because I watched that and I was like, oh, yeah, that is rotoscoped, but it actually looks good.
looks
Like,
good,
I
yeah.
like
They
the
kept a low
jerkiness
frame
of it.
rate.
I mean, because they
Yeah.
adapted it to the like squishy proportions of the
Right.
characters rather than making them look like
Yeah.
weird human freakazoids. Like,
Right. All right. Also, I gotta ask you two, you know, the two music snobs here. Like, is it intentional that their song is like kinda the most like basic ass like girls J rock?
I mean, probably. Like, I think
Okay.
the whole performance was supposed to be like, they're going somewhere, but they're still kind of wavering. You know, you still
Right, but not
see this in
quite.
the animation as well.
Yeah.
Some
So you see
CG
like
in
that
there.
Rio and Nijika are way more like they fit each other way more, so they're like
Yeah.
doing the little, you know, dancing with each other, looking at each other, while Kita and Bocchi are just staring off into the void, having panic
Yes.
attacks.
I think
So I think the song is supposed to represent that, but also that is just what J-Rock sounds like.
yeah, I think that was not. I think that was probably like we called up the record company and this is what they gave us.
In all fairness, I have been looking a little bit into the music credits for this show, and they do have some pretty legit songwriters. Like the opening is written by a guy from Kamen, who are like a relatively
okay.
well-known rock band,
Yeah,
who are also
yeah.
referenced in Bocchi's posters. The ending is by Ikkyu Nakajima of the band Trico, who, if you
Well,
are
wait, which ending? Because we have two endings now.
the second one, which if
Okay,
you
'cause
are
I was
a
gonna say
deep
I
lore
feel-
Glorio fan, you know that I once did a bit on them many years ago.
oh, yeah.
And the song they perform in the fifth episode was written by Zach or ZAQ, you know, the singer who does a couple of anime OPs.
Okay.
I think she did the famously the Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions OP.
Yeah, she's done a
So-
lot of OPs. Yeah,
Like they are trying to move beyond the whole like let's ref corporate write a song and do
Yeah,
get
Sure. Yeah.
some like legit artists.
Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
I guess my point was I don't think it was supposed to sound super generic. If maybe it wasn't supposed to be like amazing, but also
No.
I think it was still supposed to sound pretty good.
I think it
Right.
was supposed to be like, they probably told the songwriter, like, write a song that, like, vaguely awkward people would write, but, still something we can sell as a single.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I just thought it was extremely funny when Bocchi is having her like internal monologue moment, and then she has her like big speech about like, and now I've got to play as part of the band, and then she proceeds to play the song proceeds to like enter like just a fairly generic like guitar chord.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that was supposed to be like pretty good. I mean, she was playing so
I don't know, man. As someone who has seen a bunch of idol anime, I know what anime looks like when it tries to sell you on a musical performance, and this was not that. Like,
yeah,
this was just like, oh, okay, they're vibing, they're getting into the groove together.
Yeah,
I think that was definitely the intention. Like,
I do like, I'm eating up all the band stuff. Like, when they're trying to, take photos and they're like, we need to find an evocative wall to stand by.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the whole bit where they try to dress up in like Britpop style,
or
like,
God, yeah,
or even when like
but she does not dally with women, because what woman would want to dally with her?
Yeah, Aqua, you made the shoegaze joke about when the manager was telling them they need to look up, but that is a real thing.
That's a real thing
when you start out performing, because like. I like that they're emphasizing there's a big difference between playing guitar in your bedroom and like playing on stage.
I mean, that's literally why the genre is called shoegazing, because the guitarists in those bands also always looked at the ground, and it was like a derogatory way to dismiss them as, tryhards who don't know what they're doing on stage.
Yeah, because when if you haven't performed on stage before, like you're used to like looking at your guitar so you know where your hands go and everything.
Right.
But
you see this especially with Kita. Whenever she's not singing, she's like looking at her fingering.
Yeah. So like when you're performing, you're supposed to like and especially if you're the singer, you have to like keep your head up and like sing into the microphone, right?
Right.
So like that's actually a thing actually a specific skill you have to learn when you're playing live.
Right. Like
so
finger placement and such, right?
Yeah, they're really getting into the weeds on that. I'll also note on it was a little hard to tell, but during the performance, I think they were actually like had proper hand position on the guitar when they were playing. But
yeah, I mean, they probably also rotoscoped parts of that. Like,
it looked CG to me.
Yeah, it looked a little CG for the performance.
Some shots did look CG, yeah, but it was not obtrusive.
But it actually looked like Kita was playing like bar chords and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, the rest of the show looks.
I'm into
good
the details.
Yeah. Of course. Yes.
Like this is one of those
musical performance are one of those. Like, it's musical performance are the mecha fights of slice of life anime.
Yes. I mean, this is why like Tact Opus Destiny blew our fucking minds, because they actually showed like piano playing. Like they hand animated piano playing, which was like, holy shit.
Yeah. So
I could just imagine that one episode of Shirobako where they get the one guy who is good at drawing horses.
Yes, dude.
Get the piano guy. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that just continues to be really great. A lot of fun.
Bocchi coins going to the moon, baby.
Yeah. Get on the bandwagon now.
Not like Chainsaw Coin.
Oh God! Well,
the assassination of Chainsaw Man by the cowards Mappa.
What are you talking
about?
God
Damn it!
What are you talking about, guys? It's so well produced, and
some of these people should be put on a fucking plane to The Hague and be tried for crimes against humanity.
On those clothes, isn't it so well produced? Look at this whole scene of Ayakawa doing his breakfast in the morning.
Okay, let's rein it in a little bit. We're gonna talk about Chainsaw Man. I want to start with, because I think this will frame the conversation well. The interview that came out with the director.
Yeah.
Right.
Since the last episode, there was an interview that came out where he basically confirms what everybody who watches it knows, and that he's very specifically trying to emulate like a cinematic movie type of style with the show.
Right.
And then he got into like very specifically how he didn't. Like, somehow he ended up blaming this on Moe anime from the late 2000s.
Right.
Yeah. When he's like, I watched Haruhi in middle school, and I went,
Yeah. it would turn to dust, right? But
Yeah.
Which
but
is
the point
actually
is, like,
pretty funny because I'm pretty sure that back in that time, Haruhi looked pretty cinematic compared to other anime of that time.
Yeah, like I mean, look, I'll admit, right, as the resident like curmudgeonly KyoAni hater
Sure, yeah.
in the GLORIO chat, like
I'm probably the
even
number
me
2
reading that
KyoAni
interview, I was like, why aren't you complaining about like K-On! Or
Yeah.
what is it,
Lucky Star or stuff
no,
like
not
that.
Lucky Star. What was it? Was that really generic KyoAni one? Egg was in the title.
Egg?
Tamago.
Oh, Tamako Market.
Tamako
Yeah,
Market.
like why are you talking shit about one of those ones? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like the idea was like he's like, oh well, I did not want to have silly anime faces and like, you know, kind of the fun stuff in anime. And
Yeah.
God forbid Chainsaw Man, a manga about a man that turns into chainsaws.
Right,
It was
the
just
thing is like, oh, I made it more like a film because Fujimoto-sensei loved films. Yeah, do you know what kind of films he liked? Because it's definitely not the kinds of films you're trying to emulate. Like,
yeah, I don't think he meant let's make the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of
Right.
Chainsaw Man,
I-
right? But
I've not read the manga, but I've been getting a real hoot out of watching the show with people who have read the manga and going like, this joke seems like it would play better if it was done this way. And then the manga readers all go, but it's because it was in the manga!
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
you know,
yeah?
look, you know, Aqua and I are the two like Fujimoto weirdos in this chat, and so maybe Aqua, you could work with me here on this, right? Like, the
Right.
thing about Chainsaw Man, right, is like I think you know as well that like Chainsaw Man is in fact capable of those quiet introspective
right,
moments.
that is the
Like,
thing.
Like
but
the
the-
thing that blew our minds about Chainsaw Man was that it could be both that
Right.
and
How
a shit post black
this
comedy.
stupid black comedy about a guy who turns into a chainsaw and does everything because he wants to touch boobs and who makes
Right.
jokes about pissing and shitting all the time, that they can actually do, you know, these introspective moments.
Like,
But the
and
problem
so-
is,
yeah,
these do not fit in the anime as it currently is.
right.
These
These only
moments,
appear
like-
when the characters are developed, when the stakes
Yeah.
are higher.
These
And now they're just trying
introspective
to
moments,
backboard these in. Yeah.
like Hayakawa making breakfast for 2 minutes straight.
I mean, the thing is, let's look at that scene because it is the perfect encapsulation of what is wrong, right?
So like,
So in the manga,
I-
this is a couple of
well,
of
yeah, just to set it up. So like it was the latest
Right.
episode, right?
Right.
Where power moves
so we
in,
see
right?
we see Aki doing his morning routine. You know, he and Denji are sort of settling in together because, you know, they've been living together for a while, and then power comes in and disrupts everything. And the
Right,
joke is she is even grosser than Denji, and
Right.
even he complains about her like
Right.
terrible manners.
Look, my sort of issue with this, as someone who has not read the manga, is I have not gotten quite enough of an idea of how Hayakawa and Denji hang out
Right.
with each other. And like, I don't really give a shit about Hayakawa because he hasn't fucking done anything. I don't know
Right.
anything about him. So like, I'm not able to derive any meaning from
Mhm.
watching him work because I don't know anything about him.
Right. So the thing is, in the manga, this is a relatively throwaway scene. You know, you just see him do a couple of things, and then there's this big splash page of power coming in and be like, "Hey, losers, I'm gonna live here."
Wow,
now."
your house looks like shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And the way they do this in the anime is they have this minute and a half
2 minutes
long sequence of him very quietly doing his morning routine, doing very normal things, and then all of a sudden there's like they hear a noise and it's like, oh, it's power, and she just opens up and she's like, hi, your house looks bad. And the thing is,
What?
I'm not necessarily against the 2-minute quiet sequence if you
Right.
culminate in power just bursting through the door and saying,
So-
yo, your
so-
house looks like shit.
So I
But the
think
thing is,
Aqua,
that second bit is also quiet and prestigious.
yeah, the
Like,
energy doesn't match. Like
Right.
the thing that, like the reason why I think, the quiet Aki moment could have worked is if you match that quietness with its exact like polar
Right.
opposite in terms of energy once power comes in, right? I mean, here I will post. Sorry to the audio listeners, but I'm going to post a panel in our Discord right now of what I think is to me, one of the funniest fucking jokes in early Chainsaw Man, right? And it is when Power
Yes.
moves in, and it's the montage of her first saying, "I'm the kind of person who never bathes." And Aki and Denji are both like, "Get in the shower, you stink." And then the
Right.
next panel is an exact repeat, but now it's Power explaining how she does not flush the toilet.
Right.
And Aki shouts, "Flush!" And Denji says, "It stinks!"
Yes.
And there is a specific energy to the way the panels are paced. There is like a specific like look of like fear and disgust and desperation in Denji's face
Right.
when he says, "It's you can." In your mind's eye, you can smell how bad Power's shits must be. For Denji, the most gremlin man to ever like crawl out of the muck, for even him to say, "Oh God, your shit stinks so bad."
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And the
it's
thing
just,
is-
it's just not nearly as snappy in the anime. Like the execution feels so languid.
even
I watched
without,
this episode, and I was sorry, Jel, for interrupting, but I watched this episode, and I was like, I felt my soul escaping through my body because I was like, oh my god, I'm turning into G. I'm gonna say to people that Imaishi should have directed this.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. I'll say with that whole scene, like even without the manga context, I was like,
Right.
this feels like it needs that exact wacky anime energy
Yes.
that the director said he was specifically cutting out. Like,
Oh, dear.
it
Oh
needed
no.
it needed something.
Mhm.
And you know, again, we just talked about with Bocchi the Rock taking advantage of the medium, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of my like most hated things. Like, video games do this too, where it's like, if you wanted to make a movie, bro, you should have made a movie.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing. Like, the comparison with Bocchi is apt because Bocchi is a manga that was incredibly formulaic, and they turned it into an anime, and they said, this stuff is not really that important, just do whatever you want with it. And as a result, they made something great. And Chainsaw Man is the exact opposite. They have this manga that is already considered very great, very popular. So when they turn that into an anime, they're like, oh man, well, we can't just do whatever we want with this. We have to, follow the rules for a prestigious project that will sell well, that will win over 200 Anime of the Year
And
awards.
It's so disappointing because I feel like every single ED sequence for this anime,
Yes.
It just makes
It's
you
its
scream,
own-
this is what the show should have looked like.
right? Because here's the thing: each of the EDs is different, and I would say each one so far has been a valid interpretation of Chainsaw Man's tone.
Yeah.
Like, all of them work, right? Like, the thing I was telling some of you guys in the chat the other day is, like, it hit me, like, thinking about Chainsaw Man. The energy that the Chainsaw Man anime should have had is the same energy that went into the PVs for the manga volumes.
Right.
For
Chainsaw Man. Like, I keep
yes, for the
saying.
for the Chainsaw Man manga releases, they did these like kind of pseudo animated PVs for it.
Right.
With like often very grungy, chaotic music playing in the background, and it just felt right. It felt
Right.
dirty and indie and like strange and weird and aggressive in the
Punk
ways
rock.
that
Yeah.
that I think Chainsaw Man is supposed to feel, and
Yeah.
that I just don't get in the anime.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, Iro and I watched this with Zig, who also hasn't read the manga. And I can just feel him losing interest in this. Because the tone is so off that he's like, okay, and why is this good? Why do people like this? Because
Yeah.
to someone who is not familiar with this just registers as a relatively generic show about
Yeah.
a guy who fights monsters.
That's pretty much where
Like-
I'm at.
Right,
with
and
it.
like I've not read the manga, but I've sort of been around while people
Mhm.
were reading the manga, and so like I know that there's something here that I should pay attention to. By which I mean I will read the manga at some point. But
Mhm.
like, so I'm like I'm sort of willing to stick around because I know what I've seen pages, I know what people have said, but
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's the anime is rough, man.
And the pacing is also completely off. They spent way too much time on the last episode. Like, nothing happened. And Chainsaw Man is a manga that is known for its brief and snappy pacing, but they managed to...
Yeah, the fight with the leech devil is pretty cool.
But maybe they should
put a lot of money into that. It looked really good.
Maybe they should have spent all of that effort on a fight that is actually relevant to the story, like the previous fight.
Is that more relevant to the story? I guess because, all the power stuff is there.
Because of the power stuff, and then Leech just shows up and is like, hey, fight me too! And then they fight for like half an episode.
It is really strange that the Leech fight looks so much better than the Bat fight.
That depends on which key animator they assigned it to.
Right. It feels to me very... we are aware of the 3-episode rule, and that episode 4 tends to look worse than the first 3 episodes. So let's put all the money behind episode 4.
Sure, because like the Leech fight is what I want Chainsaw Man fights to look like, right?
Yeah.
Like I want Denji to gesticulate and like growl like a feral animal.
Yeah,
like I don't think it's in the manga. So this is one thing the adaptation did do that is cool. It was like, his like fucking distended, bulging eyeball from like the head trauma is like such a good way to like. It both makes him look crazier, but also communicates like the amount of like physical like punishment he is enduring in this fight.
The thing is, like, if they continue at this pace, they're not gonna get to the really good stuff.
Is this a 2 core or is it 1 core?
It's 1 core, as far as I know.
What?
No, imagine making a Chainsaw Man anime and not cashing in that Reze ship on the first season. Like,
dude, I think Reze is going to be a movie. Like,
oh boy,
they're going to do the Jujutsu Kaisen thing.
I don't know who
Reze is going to be a movie.
I've seen cosplay.
Reze is the third waifu. You have the one with the circular eyes. You have the one with the horns. She's the third one.
Hold on. Are you?
I'm seeing there are 12 episodes.
Are you disparaging? Fuck. Oh shit. What's her name?
Himeno. No.
Yes, Himeno. Eye patch girl.
Yeah. Or Kobeni.
Or Kobeni. Everybody's
nervous wreck number 3 of the season.
Favorite little freak. Yeah.
I am not disparaging her, but those 3 are definitely the most popular
the main ones.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have time to get into it at this point. Maybe next time I'll get more into it, but even just technical, and maybe because of the presentation, I also kind of hate Denji, and not in a good way. But I don't know if, again, like I've heard what you guys have said about his character, which makes sense to me intellectually, but it doesn't seem to line up with what I'm getting on screen.
The thing is, I think he's supposed to be a send-up of the like traditional shonen idiot pervert hero.
Right.
Like, oh, what if this guy was real and he would be fucking insufferable?
He's not that... The thing is, like, in the anime, he's not that funny.
Yeah.
But I'm like... I don't know.
Like you guys know, I am the champion of all dirtbag protagonists, and like there's a fine line between just like I don't know, whatever it is.
Thing, like,
I just don't like him at all. Like he's
just
the like,
fucking To Your Eternity thing again, where you're like watching an adaptation of a manga you like, and there's just something in the back of your mind that says like, this is not good. Was this never good?
You're questioning myself.
No.
Do I just have bad taste? Like,
damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chainsaw Man is good. I will stand by that. Chainsaw Man, the anime, distinctly less good. Please read the manga.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like they spend too much time dwelling on him like wanting to grab boobs and being mildly homophobic or like whatever. I don't know, but the whole bit with him like, oh, you think I would want to save a man? Ew, gross.
Boobs for me to grab.
Yeah. I felt like out of the 5 episodes we've had, I feel like 3 of the episodes have been devoted to him saying that. I don't know.
The thing is, like, I think if the delivery was snappier, I think it's funnier, right?
So that's the thing. I think the issue here is like, look, I'm not going to like defend the contents of what Denji says because those are mostly true to the manga, but I think the manga's delivery is so much quicker, right? It's so much more energetic. It's so much more spontaneous.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, if this guy is, like, getting threatened by the monster, he's like, help me! And Denji's just, like, standing there picking his nose and be like, a guy? I don't think so. And then the guy comically gets
I mean, he
murdered.
does. He does help it. He does.
I mean,
help
that's
him.
way funnier than Denji saying that as if he's, like, a hot-blooded shonen hero, spouting his ninja way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
My
It's
ninjas,
just...
I only grab boobs. I only save dudes. I only save ladies.
All right. Well,
man.
we can continue to prosecute Chainsaw Man in the future. Let's move on, and we'll wrap up.
Oh boy, howdy! We're coming in hot on this one.
Let's talk about a good show.
Well, okay. Well, I'm holding my hands up. I'm saying for now. So far.
Yeah. You know.
All right, guys.
We're talking, of course, about Gundam.
Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury.
I do want to give Aqua a chance to talk because I don't think he's had a chance to talk about it yet. And also as the other non-Gundam person currently on the podcast.
So where we're coming in from this is like, I have generally been sort of like, I've always found it hard to get into Gundam because of the like
franchise history,
more like the bow-faced militarism and the like attempts to be quote unquote realistic and serious.
I think the only gun you've seen when Zick and I made you watch War in the Pocket.
Right, but I like War in the Pocket. I'm mostly talking about like earlier experience of people when I was talking to a friend who liked Gundam and was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then they started talking about things like, oh yeah, but they don't have artificial gravity, so everyone is hovering around. And that made me think, oh, like in real space flight? Well, where's the fun in that? Like,
fun is that everyone's floating around like a dipshit.
Right. I mean, but the thing is, like, that kind of thing, and the whole thing of like men in military suits talking about the chain of command and that sort of stuff doesn't really appeal to me.
Right. Shit, man, I wish Gundam had more of that. God damn it.
I mean, this is all
kidding, Aqua? Every Gundam's about some fucking dipshit 16-year-old stealing a military fucking fighter jet and, like, getting into adventures with it.
Gee, I'm only talking about what my impression was.
I know.
Not what it actually is.
Yes,
so I decided, but there was a new show coming up, and it had some positive buzz. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll watch this. I didn't watch the prologue when it came out. I started at episode 1, then I went back to watch the prologue.
Have you not seen the prologue?
No, I caught up. Okay. I watched the prologue after
Interesting.
episode 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
And the thing is, like, I like it a lot because the show manages to balance your traditional anime high school hijinks with the more like serious political maneuvering, companies trying to, steal each other's military secrets and
base
and all the kinds of like
bad.
quote unquote bow-faced like real robot themes. But it packages it in a nice, like, sort of hangout vibe that makes it very easily digestible. Yeah. And it looks nice. The technology looks like the way they depict this world is thematically consistent and very appealing. The characters are fun. They manage to have a good balance between more dramatic and more comedic scenes. I mean, it's a good show. I like it so far. So without any prejudices, without any baggage of this is what Gundam usually does, or this is what Gundam usually doesn't.
I saw like I saw a toast the other day that was like,
shut the fuck up.
I saw a post the other day that was like, oh, my reward for not watching Gundam for 30 years is being able to watch Witch of Mercury and enjoy it unequivocally. What do you mean? What do you mean? We should hedge our bets. The first 3 episodes were good. Why wouldn't the rest be good? I thought that was really funny.
So that out of the way.
This show is just to summarize my thought. I think it's just a masterstroke to package the traditional Gundam things into what is popular in anime nowadays.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we do that without losing our own identity and just making generic path that appeals to the lowest common denominator. I think that's pretty impressive how they did that. I mean, this is kind of what that writer is known for. Like, if you look at Princess Principal, which is kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting that you would say Princess Principal, perhaps not his other works, like Code Geass or
Valbrave the Liberator.
Well, look.
Princess Principal's good. I think, weirdly enough, I think he's the writer who has shown up the most times on our top 10s, so...
Right.
He also wrote Lupin Part 5, right?
Yeah,
this reminds me more of Princess Principal than it reminds me of Code Geass. I mean, it definitely has some of that Code Geass energy, but, like...
yeah, no, I agree.
Sorry, I'm always just a sucker for Special High School for X. Like, this is just Yu-Gi-Oh! GX with robots, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, well, I agree as another person with no Gundam baggage that I'm enjoying all that, but I think we need to get into this week's episodes where things...
I'm holding the bolt cutters. Time to unchain G.
Yeah. I am vibrating in place here. All right.
So episode 5, which is mostly set up with Ellen, is pretty standard stuff. Like, we find out Ellen is like a cyber new type, is an enhanced human who's been secretly built somehow to interface more effectively with the gun tech secretly to get an advantage. Right. Go ahead.
This episode did have the important, reveal that other companies have gotten their hand on gun tech, or at least something that looks like
that's normal enough. Of course, they've all been experimenting with the secret, super powerful mega stuff. And that's pretty standard stuff, He's like, Suletta, you're nothing like me. We're gonna duel. Guel gets owned yet again.
Well, I think the important thing I actually do want to point out about Elan and why he is initially attracted or fascinated by Suletta, right? Mm-hmm. Is that Elan sees in Suletta what he thinks for the first time is kinship.
Somebody like me.
Like someone he can share his suffering with, right?
He is like being Gundam pilot is suffering, and then Suletta shows up. It's like, being Gundam pilot is fun.
Yeah, I love my Gundam. I love my sister Gundam.
Like, he straight up like pilots Aerial, and he's like, something about this is different. Suletta has not gone through what I've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to know that is what sets him off against her, right? Yes. Is like, he initially sees her as a kindred spirit, and he feels personally betrayed when it turns out, actually, no, she gets all of the benefits he has with literally none of the drawbacks.
And then he, punches Guel out, like, because he's mad.
I am rooting. I'm putting it all on Guel coin
really
now.
Funny.
All right,
everyone's like, "Oh, poor Guel, who just gets immediately owned every episode."
I mean, the thing with Guel is every time he does something, you think, "Oh, maybe they're gonna redeem him," and then the next episode he just does something terrible, awful again. Like
ass beat again. Like
I will look. Credit where it's due. Considering he is piloting his universe's, like, Zaku equivalent,
right?
I thought he put in a pretty good effort against Gundam Feract, the crazy sniper suit Elan has.
But episode 6 just opens with dropping that the prologue was 21 years ago.
21 years ago!
Not 13 years ago, which would line up with Suletta's age if she was Eri in the prologue.
Right.
And so I need to say that there has been a bubbling fan theory for the last few episodes that I have not brought up on the podcast because I thought it was so insane, so laughable. There would be absolutely no need to bring this up amongst polite company.
Oh, what a
But then I forgot. Oh, right. Anime writers are the bravest people on the planet. They literally have no fear in their hearts.
Yeah.
What are the 3 letters in the middle of the word Aerial?
Aerial.
God.
We put all the
Aerials. What is the name?
The Gundam, it's Aerial Gundam.
Is
The
Gundam
Arm was
Aerial
his wife all along!
is Gundam Aerial powered by the soul of a forsaken child? Is Suletta not Eri?
It's like,
Was the
okay.
real Eri's soul and
Right.
consciousness digitized and put into the Gundam? And that's why Suletta sees it as a sibling figure, because it actually is her sibling?
You know, they're like tired. The Gundam is your mom. Wired. The Gundam is you. It's like we established with the Guel stuff that like an AI is capable of like semi-autonomously controlling a Gundam, including drone bits. And with
Yes.
Ellen's enhanced person, Puru 12, he's a clone of the real Ellen shit. We've established
This is
that,
just
like,
Evangelion!
we've established that you can clone people and like modify them, and the timeline shit, like Ariel is totally Eri, like the right, like we cloned Eri, who had a unique connection with Gundam Lafrith. You know, or like this wonderkind child who could interface with the gun tech. We cloned her 10 times or whatever and fucking stuck her in the robot and
Because
cloned her a
notably,
new time
all right,
to be
all right,
the
all right.
pilot. Right?
Because so here's the thing, right? If you look in the prologue, when Eri activates the gun tech in the Elfrith,
She got the
her
lines
face
on her
lights
face.
up. The lines
Yeah,
show up.
like Ellen.
Suletta does not.
Yes.
Yeah, she never does the whole data storing
storm,
thing.
yeah.
And now there is the talk that, okay, go back to the prologue. Remember how all the adults are struggling to activate Elfrith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
There's
they're
no
like, oh,
callback.
we can't like
Can't get the
summon its full
callback from Level
potential.
33.
Right. How does Eri unlock Elfrith's true
Right.
potential? By recognizing the Elfrith's personhood, by treating it as a
Uh-huh.
person. And somehow, this is the secret sauce that unlocks the true potential of gun tech, is that gun tech only helps those it chooses to help. It cannot be coerced.
Uh-huh.
It cannot be corralled. It must, of its own volition, out of its own sense of personhood and love for its pilot, choose to protect them. So, what is the most powerful bond you could possibly create?
familial
That
bond.
of family,
Yeah.
of siblings.
Right, and
Why is
Yeah, they keep hammering home like this episode when Eri keeps like she's deploying the funnel. She's like, everyone, like give me your power, block the shot.
yes?
Mhm.
Why
Yeah.
is Gundam Aerial so powerful? Because what if the digitized soul of the original Eric Samaya is inside the Gundam Aerial and of its own
man.
sapient volition chooses to protect Suletta with all of its will?
You've heard of the Ray series. Now it's for time for the Eri series.
Wow.
I
what a hoot!
am fucking losing it.
So
Like,
it's
I'm
so
kind of, I'm
funny.
just, I am kind of picturing UG with like that
Pepe Sylvia
Charlie Day meme
corkboard.
where he's standing in front
Yes.
of the conspiracy board with the pins in the board and
I
Man.
yes,
have said it enough times, all right? Gundam can be good, it can be bad, but most importantly, Gundam should be
You
interesting.
know, okay. I
And-
also have to interject for a moment, which is last podcast I had not seen episode 4, and Choo Choo fucking rules, dude.
Yeah!
I will happily
Dude,
bring
Choo
that
Choo's
back
the
up again.
best. Yeah, no, we can talk about Choo Choo all we want. Whenever Choo Choo's
Sure.
not on screen,
Yeah.
we should ask, where's Choo Choo?
I mean, and whenever she is on stream, she's just like grumpy in the background,
We're
snarling at
we're
people.
hooting and hollering like slobbering beasts. Like
Dude, like that, like her, she almost steals the whole episode just for that one shot where she's just delinquent squatting.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, do
like
the delinquent
fucking
squat. Yeah,
Yakuza, like,
Oh, she's so good. But yeah, like, so,
Is
I mean,
this, what, is
think
this
about-
the big thing we've learned from this year? Is that we all just want girls who act like Yakuza delinquents?
I guess so. But so to just focus on the episode as a
Yeah,
whole, though, I
sorry,
think this
yeah.
episode is like such a great like. So as a heads up for people that don't know, they are skipping next week. Next week's episode will be a recap episode. So, you know, I hope the production on Witch from Mercury is going well, but taking a break this early is a little concerning.
or tug.
the
but
latest robot fight in this last episode did look not as good as the previous ones in some shots. I noticed, but
I think it was fairly impressive, but also maybe not worthy of the build-up. Like a lot of rumor mongering was that episode 6 is a big episode. And so people initially assumed, it's because it's going to be Elan and Soletta's duel. And it turns out the reason it's a big episode is because of all the other fucking shit around the robots.
The actual fight itself was like it was good.
Fine,
like the animation and stuff was good, but like the actual like models and stuff were a bit off and stuff. Like
it's definitely it's definitely the reality of like 2D animated robots are.
They might
going
need a
to,
break. They might have needed a break. I don't know, but yeah.
I just think that like even as a like cliffhanger, whether intended or not, right? As a 2-week cliffhanger for us to all stew on,
That's a lot.
Like, this is Gundam at its best, right? At its most interesting is just hitting you like a 1, 2, 3.
Also, this is the selling point for watching shit weekly instead of binging. To me,
yes, exactly, right.
It is seeing this episode, and we all go fucking what, and then we have to sit
think
here,
about it.
We have to talk about it and sit here for 2 weeks, right?
Yes, right. Like I mean,
whereas if you were watching this all once, next year or something, like. You wouldn't have that. You just go into the next one, and
it just wouldn't have the same impact, right?
It would just be one eye in, one eye out, like
right. Like because I do want to mention, right? Again, this episode is really bold in a lot of ways, right? Like we were talking about just the Eri Soletta stuff, and again, we're just kind of losing our minds here, but it's not even necessarily confirmed. But like,
right.
Ella just dies at the end of this episode.
Yes,
they just put him in
the barrel of a gun or something.
It looked like the Metal Gear Solid 4 microwave corridor.
You think they annihilated him with a gun, with like a big beam or something?
Right. I was like, so here's the thing, right? As someone who is a fan of Gundam, Elan's archetype is usually a tragic figure, right? Like that part is not like
your like new type waifus. I guess husbando in this case.
Specifically cyber new type, right?
Yes, their first one was just a regular ass new type, but yes,
right,
like
the enhanced person, right? Mm-hmm. And so like I don't think anybody was like, oh yeah, Elan's definitely getting a happy ending, but like
they just fry
and
him.
They're gonna
dismantle him.
They're gonna do the thing where like next episode, Suletta's gonna talk to him and he's like, "Who are you?" Right?
Exactly, right. Yeah. And the thing I kind of love about this, for better or worse, right, is I feel like killing a character that was like positioned so prominently early on, this early, is Witch from Mercury making a definitive statement, like we are not afraid to pull the trigger.
Okay,
right?
What would be better / funnier is next episode it's another like Ray Elan who's emotionless is like, who are you? Or would it be better if it's like the shitty jock Elan we met for 2 minutes?
The actual one.
Elan?
Yeah.
They're not. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to make another.
Alright, you don't think so? Yeah, it'd be too jarring for everyone.
Well, I mean that would be great. I don't think that's what they're going to do, though. I think they're going to start out another clone.
The way they frame the Elan stuff, right, is that nobody knows this, right? Like not even the other families seem to know about this like facade, right?
Like double shit, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like the thing that for better or worse, right, through thick and thin, through feast or famine, the thing that has always sort of kept me going through Gundam, for better or for worse, is that I feel like every entry in the franchise always manages to find new, interesting things to do with, like, the base premise of mechs and warfare, and then sort of expanding from there, sort of expanding the web from there to the other themes that are like indelibly connected to those ideas.
Right. What are all the possible different things we can do with giant robots? Like,
yes, and I think G-Witch is doing like some, like, again, hard to say how it'll play off, how it'll pay off in the end, but right now, like, I love just how like weird and interesting they are willing to get with it right now.
And that experience is valid on its own, right? We often talk about shows sticking the landing, but if they give this experience while watching, then that's also valuable.
Yes. Like, I mean, I do value endings.
Yeah,
I think that's
perhaps too much, but like I also said earlier in this podcast, like Ranking of Kings still is a good shot to be my number one. Like,
Yeah, I think that's a thing. That's an area where our opinions vary a bit on how much we appreciate, how much we put importance we put on like the ending part of it, because we've had quite a few very high profile shows over the past couple of years that were great until like the last 2 episodes or something, right?
But it is really fun to. Again, it's been a long time since there was a Gundam TV show. Like Iron Blood Orphans, like 2015, but it's really exciting and kind of fun to. There's a new Gundam TV show. We're 6 episodes in, and everyone is hyped.
Yeah,
Yes,
all the newcomers, all
yeah,
the old types, all the new types. We're all having a good time, right?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, Eero, because in a lot of ways, right, it's like it's weird to talk about Gundam like this, right? Because it was once upon a time one of the biggest franchises on the planet,
Right?
and it has not been that in kind of a little bit.
Yeah,
and
like
so it just feels fun to
me,
like.
For me, it was always like Gundam's just that huge franchise over there that like I don't know anything about.
Right.
And
so
I've talked to people who this is like one of their first Gundams and they're really into it, or I've talked to people who are like, I've been like, Gundam Wars for Mercury is really good, and they're like, oh yeah, like I've heard of Gundam, but I'm not gonna watch Gundam because like I'm not really into that. Like I don't. It's a whole big franchise, right? And so it's been interesting to see on social media how like people who aren't necessarily freaks like us, you and me, G, who are into that stuff as much, be into this and be excited about it, right?
Yeah,
even
no,
when
totally.
you get completely different fandoms for this show, like because we were talking earlier about how this show has like 7 different discourses going on. Like you have the mecha people, you have the sci-fi transhumanism people, and then there's just people who are in here for like the good times and the ships and
right, like the shipping wars half of G-Witch, like that. I don't think we've really brought up much here. Is like going on in other quarters of the internet.
Oh, wild. That's wild.
Like there are people analyzing every shot of Miorine and Soletta looking at each other.
Yes.
Every shot of like, well, Guel looked at Soletta in this way.
Yeah.
Or Milan had this look in his.
Miorine is a tolerant bride. Wasn't that what she said?
Yes,
that was a tolerant minor 2 timing. She says.
Yes.
I mean,
and so
it's especially funny when they go like and create their crazy like armchair psychologist threats about how this ship definitely is not what the authors are intending. It's this ship that they're intending.
Look, I did call this my favorite harem anime last episode. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I just think, and okay, I posted something in the Discord that like we don't need to actually describe, but it's just indicative of like the fan base just seems really energized about G-Witch, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are making fan art very quickly. People are telling a lot of jokes, right? All right. This is a slight spoiler. I will just say it is a fan art depicting Lady Prospera, or Elnora, Soletta's mother, wearing Bondrewd's helmet. I'll leave the rest to you.
Yes. Bondrewd from Made in Abyss.
Yes.
I mean, this is a show that definitely has, because a lot of these things, like a lot of like Eero talking about how it's a benefit that you can that it's airing weekly. G talking about how it's fun to see everyone sort of united behind this. This is the rare show that gives you the Madoka effect, which I like to call it.
Kinda,
like,
like
the show that everyone rallies behind and everyone is like speculating about it. Everyone is
we're all talking about
for
it
their own reasons. Yeah,
we're all talking about it at the anime water cooler.
I mean that is evidence of what I initially said about how this show appeals to many people without losing its own identity, right?
Yeah.
I do have to say, before we wrap up, maybe let's also talk about the more lighthearted stuff in this episode, because I do have to give a shout out to the scene of Suletta just piloting Aerial into
Pale House.
Oh my god!
And being like, "Hey, I want to talk to him, guys!" And like waving at them.
You just like stomp into the lobby, like the common room of someone else's door, and are like, "Hey, I want to talk to this guy."
And the best thing they can think of is like giving her
over
access
the PA,
to the PA, and she just starts singing "Happy Birthday."
Oh my god! I was starting to get like secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, it is like the most cringeworthy. Like, as someone as someone who is on the spectrum, that is like, oh my god, this is so relatable. Just making the like most horrible kinds of social faux pas in an attempt to be like, this is what people do, right?
Sation.
Yeah.
For life.
For me, then, it's got to be shoutouts to Guel living in a tent in what appears to be the school's like park or like.
Guel is
and following everything that's going on his iPad and being like,
really funny.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I mean, I was half joking, but like Guel is like maybe the character I am now like third or fourth most invested in.
I mean,
in this story, like
he's gonna join. He's gonna join the main crew, right?
I want to see this dipshit's redemption story.
He got owned by some bumpkin. Yeah.
Like. He's
gonna join the main crew, and whenever the real war happens or whatever, he's gonna sacrifice himself to save Suletta or something. It's gonna happen.
Sure,
probably. Like I need the
I would actually prefer him to sacrifice himself for Miorine
or somebody.
He's been treating her like shit.
He's like, don't get me wrong, I'm doing this because Suletta cares about you.
Yeah, or something like that.
All right, for me, I need the fan artist to get on this quick. I need a drawing of Rio from Bocchi the Rock and Guel both eating weeds out of like the park.
That's not gonna happen, G. They're too busy drawing fan art of what they think Miorine and Soletta's children will look like.
Oh my God.
Well,
mushroom hair and tanuki eyebrows.
Look, I'm just telling you, all right, after all these insane reveals, if episode 7 just opened up with a montage of Guel, the pampered rich son of a mega corporation struggling to figure out what's safe to eat in the woods, I'll watch that.
Yeah. Sure. Oh man.
All right. Well, that show's pretty good. Asterisk for now.
Yep.
So, what? One last question. I know you guys didn't like Iron-Blooded Orphans, but you did kind of like it at some point. Like, at what point did it go wrong? Like, how fast?
It was always wrong, but like it sort of pulled it together at the very end.
Okay,
is what I would say. Like the beginning of Iron-Blooded Orphans and the end of Iron-Blooded Orphans, like sort of nailed what sort of wanted to be, and then everything in the middle was incredibly confused about what it wanted to be.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm just wondering how many has this been better? Has this been better longer than IBO was?
Iron-Blooded was 52 episodes, so
right. Well,
I would say the definitive falling apart point for Iron-Blooded Orphans is probably around the first core point, so like 12, 13 episodes.
Okay.
So, like, this is.
But there were
proportionally, we're about there.
There were problems.
Yes.
There were problems ahead of that, though. I'm sure, right?
Right.
Yes. I mean,
I remember you guys being as excited about IBO as you are about Witch now. Like,
oh no, I mean, so that's that. So if there's anything that's going to like work out in in Witch from Mercury's favor is that the initial buy-in and enthusiasm is probably a fair bit higher than IBO ever got. But again, it's like it's
you get your heart broken enough, and
like six episodes is a lot, but it's also not that much. So
yeah.
Hey, it's like how we say for like Sentai Kamen Rider, you gotta go like a solid 15 episodes in.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, usually, but that's the case with Sentai Rider, that because usually they fired half of the writing room by episode 15, and the show becomes something completely different.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
That's my segue to say we don't have time, but a good 9 episodes in, Kamen Rider Geats is still all right.
Pretty good, yeah.
Oh yeah. There are multiple Kamen Riders
next
on.
time.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, you got to wrap this up.
Yep. Let's land this plane finally. We made it. Do our housekeeping. Check us out at theglorioblog.com. You can follow us on Twitter for now at the Glorio blog.
At Glorio on co-host.
And also, we're now on co-host at Glorio. I haven't really posted anything really there yet.
You posted a picture of Bocchizilla, which is way better than the first post we ever posted on our blog.
That's fair enough.
So time, okay.
So we'll we'll figure something out with that. But you can go check us out over there. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, Stitcher. And you can check us out on YouTube, where you can like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all that good stuff.
We are not on Mastodon, so anyone spouting bad anime opinions on that network is an imposter.
Yeah,
boy.
so if you see any GLORIO on Mastodon, that's not us.
Shit, should we snatch up that URL just to
Oh my
make sure?
fucking God.
I
Just
don't
a
even. I couldn't
future-proof.
figure out how Mastodon works. I don't understand it. But anyway, yeah, check all that us out in all those places or whatever. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. We'll catch everybody next time.
Bye.